marriage is service. So when he cooks or do that, clean, I go, oh, honey, thank you for washing the dish.
So many times you think that the touch can only happen during the sexual act and the union between that husband and wife. But the touch could be in the small thing, many boxes. But you never know what's inside until you do what?
Open it.
Open it. All right, and then hold up this, and you'll see that there are other boxes are inside. And men, we need to be romantic. Keep it real. Welcome to Keep It Real. This is your host, Dr. Keith Rolle, a.k.a. and Sister Joy is not here today, but we have an exciting guest. It's just the male bonding today, and we just want to give a shout out to all of our international viewers. We were on live last week, and it was a fantastic live program. Imelda rocked the house. We talked about God's promises fulfilled. Many women say they were just touched, they were inspired, they were empowered, and the best is yet to come. So don't you touch that dial. And we want to recognize our sponsor. This is episode number 63. This is the last episode for April, and April was a month of laughter and a wagon load of blessing. There she is, LaShawn Pursley Huey, Sneakers to Heal Mentors Program. We had her on the show. She talked about how she was ACHD, but she went on to get a PhD, and nothing can stop you. No label, no codes. There's her call signals, and therefore we have in the house today my friend. We met on a program where we both were recognized, none other than Mr. Walter Kirkland.
Yes.
He lives in Maryland. There he is. Let's put up his bio.
Yes.
And then we'll get right into our broadcast today, and we'll tell you our title. He's founder and president of 100 Black Men, former IBM salesman. He can show you how to do the sales. Man, he got BMWs and all of that, being top salesman. And maybe he can go back and get me one. Advocate, mentor, coach, community leader, influencer, BS Business, Rolle University. And he has two sons.
Yes.
Chase
and Garrett.
All right. Well, welcome, Mr. Walter, to Keep It Real.
Thank you. It's an honor. And, Keith, what you do every single week is phenomenal. God bless you, Godspeed, and keep up the dynamic work. I'm honored to be here.
Well, we're so grateful. Let's talk about the subject there. She'll put that up momentarily. And then if you have a scripture, you can just go ahead and name the scripture. But we're going to talk about the art of leadership with youth.
Yes.
Youth are an endangered species.
Yes.
Our youth are in crisis. Our youth are in peril, especially black men. And we want you to first, Walter, tell us how your family of origin, because foundation, formation, fundamentals, focus, and then future. We're talking about the youth. That's very basic, and is greatly needed. So tell us where you hail from. I think you from. Other than Maryland, you migrated there.
I hail from Mount Vernon, New York.
Okay.
A place in Westchester County, New York, which is about an hour from New Brunswick. Went to Rutgers University. Was an All-American track runner. Keith, we were on welfare. A lot of people think I had a silver spoon growing up. It didn't.
No.
So we were on welfare. My mom cleaned houses. I used to say, "What does your mom do?" I said, "Domestic engineer." To be honest, I was a little embarrassed, as a child, because many of the people in Westchester, New York, had very prestigious positions. And at the time, we were on welfare. So I found a way to get out the hood, so to speak. I was an All-American track star and won several national championships. When I did graduate from Mount Vernon High School, I ended up getting 15 scholarship offers, and it led me to go to Rutgers University, like this ring.
Okay.
And was there for 4 years, and became an All-American and a Hall of Famer. And then from there, went on to a very successful career in sales and marketing with GE Healthcare, Honeywell, Xerox, to name a few, which has really formulated who I am as a man. And then after working for several 20-plus years, I've become a consultant and a PR marketing person, but really the claim to fame is the 100 Black Men. I say that, Pastor, because of the youth that's involved.
Okay. And that started in the Prince George's County?
Prince George's County, we started there 12 years ago. I'm the founding president. And from that, we have we had 8 men that formed it with bylaws. We had to raise $5,000. And we had a small group of kids, about maybe 5 or 10 kids. Now we have 90 members, 300 mentees. And we do financial literacy, health and wellness, education, and mentoring. And those are our core pillars that we try to do with the kids. And our saying, as you've heard me say many times before, Keith, is what you see is what you will be, and what you see is what you will be. For you listeners out there and viewers, that's a critical piece of what the children see, especially as African Americans, boys and girls, from 8 to 18.
Well, let me just go back to, you talked about your mom, but what about your father?
My father, believe it or not, I'm from a dysfunctional family. Was raised by my stepfather. My dad was an entertainer, dynamic individual, but never lived with me. And never publicly mentioned this before, but yeah, I had to find a way with this dysfunctionality. The stepfather ended up leaving the home. My mom raised me, but athleticism was a way to get out the hood, so to speak, that formulated who I am. Very shy child, did okay in school, but found a way to get through high school and to get to college. So when I went to Rutgers campus back then in 1976, it was less than 3% minority. I'm in my first class, Keith, and there was 90 people in biology, and it was only 3 black people in the class. It was very intimidating me as a young man, but being from New York City with survival skills, I had to find a way to graduate, and I did. It was a phenomenal, phenomenal experience.
And your mother's name is?
Hazel Kirkland.
And is she still alive?
She's no longer
alive.
alive.
We want to thank Miss Hazel for what you did, because you produce a fine species of a man. And you can't despise small beginning. And many of us, we grew up, we didn't have a silver spoon in our mouths. And I remember going to an integrated school during the 70s, and there were a lot of rich, right kids, but they befriended me. And the neighborhood where we lived, they would want to, hey, where do you live? And I was ashamed to bring them to our neighborhood.
Really?
But then I thought about it. It's not, you can live in the ghetto, but the ghetto don't have to be in you.
That's right.
And then I got liberated from that. And they embraced me for who I am. They didn't put me down, or they didn't cast me away. And I really appreciate that. And I grew up on the welfare cheese from the government, the peanut butter.
There you go.
We made bologna. We made
mayonnaise
sandwich without any meat. But when we got a quarter, we can go buy some bologna, and then we had bologna sandwich. We didn't have no sandwich and whatnot. So now Chase and Garrett, they also are athletes, aren't they? Or it's just one?
Chase ran track and did okay at Bowie State, but Garrett is the baller shot caller. He's not only a good athlete, he was a 4.0 student getting his MBA. He has the all-time records in 3 points for Mercy College in upstate Dobbsford, New York.
Okay.
And just a great young man, born on the same day, Keith, as me, January 26th.
Wow.
What a blessing.
Yeah,
How does that happen?
Only in the DNA and only God. So you two celebrate your God-created special day. Now, we met in D.C. back in March of 2023.
Yes.
And at the press club there in Washington, D.C., we were recognized for the Love and Peace Award.
That's right.
And there was an organization that recognized us for all of the humanitarian and philanthropic things we did around the world. You sat in the second seat, I sat on the end. And I guess there was a chemistry that was going on, and then next thing I know, lo and behold, you popped up here in Houston.
That's right.
And I took you to church, and I took you out to a nice soul food restaurant, and we've been good friends. You've been on several platforms that I hosted, and now you're here in Houston again.
That's right.
And we'll talk at the end of while you're here, and then there may be some people out there who will be interested in the golf tournament that you're going to be putting off. And so tell about that very quickly, of how you also put together events.
Yeah, I do national events across the country. I've done about 40 different golf tournaments, celebrity tournaments, and I'll find a foundation, whether it's prostate cancer or HBCUs, and we formulate these great celebrity golf events. We make it a weekend. You attended one last year in Houston, and we do it for great causes. So it's been a great experience over the last 10 plus years. I used to do it for the National Association of Black Journalists. I've done it for the vets, the U.S. vets. I've done it for a lot of different causes, but specifically we're doing it for Vernon Dean's foundation here in Houston, and then 100 Black Men will be here next year.
Now, Vernon Dean played for what was known
NFL,
as the
played for the Washington Redskins.
And they are now called Commanders.
The Washington Commanders. And he and Darryl Green will be at the one coming up July 29th.
Okay, and that's going to be right here in Missouri City?
Missouri City at Quail Valley.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about that now,
Yep.
and then we'll talk about it as a reminder in the end.
Yep. So that event's going to be July 29th at Quail Valley Golf Course in Missouri City. It's a phenomenal course. We have a VIP reception on July 28th, and on July 29th, we're going to have a tea time at 8 o'clock. It'll be kind of warm that time of the year. Vernon Dean, Darryl Green, Eric Dickerson, to name a few, will be in this event with other celebrities, maybe Doug Williams. He loves this town. A lot of people love your town, by the way.
In fact, you should have a house and you should move here because Houston will have a problem if you come. Both Dr. K and Walter will be in the same city. Okay, so that's going to be July 29th.
July 29th, yes.
Now, at the last one, Royal Ambassadors, we were sponsored.
And thank you for that.
And then hopefully we'll be a sponsor
This year.
again this
Yep.
year, where we'll have a scramble. And it's for a good cause. Last year was for the Boys and Girls Club
Of Houston.
and the Salvation Army.
That is correct.
Now, will the mixer be back at the
Roof?
The roof.
No, it will be at the Quail Valley Golf Course, the same facility on the 28th, and not at the roof. No.
Okay.
And then the golf event will be the
And
next
then
day.
you'll have entertainment.
Yep, live entertainment, food, artwork. It's a big party. It's a VIP party where we just kind of hang out and celebrate, the youth.
And the last time you were here, many people contracted you to do events.
You know, what's amazing about this city, and I want to thank you, and you're one of the people that has helped expand my network. I got 3 or 4 different jobs from that event that I did here, so I love this town. It's just a lot of expansion because I think I bring a different energy from the East Coast to the West, to this part of the country.
Midwest.
And it's really an honor and pleasure to work in this market.
Well, we are so grateful. Now, you also work with youth.
Yes.
And why do you make an investment into young people? And there are 10 characteristics that you talked about on our men's summit. We had almost 20,000 people that will be coming up again in June.
Congratulations.
But we had it last November, and we were 400 men and boys shy.
Jeez.
And it just went global, and you talked about the art of leadership as it relates to our youth.
Yes, I did.
And you introduced 10 core values in effective leadership.
I did.
Won't you tell what leadership is all about, and then give us those 10 core values, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, leadership is subjective, Keith. It's really leading from the front, and it's being authentic every single day. And what I mean by that is when you're going to lead, you have to be authentic and be transparent. And otherwise, people, whether they're children, adults, you have to lead from the front. So that's what leadership's about, and being able to delegate effectively. It's great to lead, but if you dump on somebody and they don't know why they're doing the task, they're not going to lead effectively. The core competencies is just basic communications. It's integrity. It's open communication. It's being honest.
Look at the camera.
It's being deliverable. You need to have all those things involved as it relates to being an effective leader. And if you have that engagement, if you have leadership, and you have transparency, and you have being honest, that's going to help you in motivating people moving forward as it relates to leadership. And you got to have effective delegation versus dumping.
And that's delegation versus dumping. Now, General Dwight Eisenhower, he said this about leadership. Leadership is the art of getting someone else to do something you want done because he wants to do it. What you think about that?
That's deep. That's a real deep thing. I've never quite heard it that way. I think that's a very different perspective.
Well, that's why he was a general and he got paid big bucks. And then also Rosalind Carter said she's now late from Georgia. With Jimmy Carter, almost 100 years old, I think the 36th president. A leader takes people, listen to this, where they want to go. a great leader takes people where they don't necessarily want to go, but ought to be. And
Yeah.
that's what you do with the young people.
No, you're right, because sometimes you don't know, Pastor Keith, what you don't know. So children, they want to be led. They want to be led every single day. So sometimes the path of least resistance is not the right path. As you know, God will bless you when you're supposed to be blessed, not when you always want to be blessed. So I think it's called patience and fortitude and proper coaching and experience.
Well, there are 3 stages of life. We have the youth. They have all the time and energy, but they don't have the money, or they don't have that direction. They don't have that discipline, and they don't have that development. Therefore, they can't arrive at their destiny. And that's where you come in.
Yes, and you gotta coach. You gotta hold them by the hand. There's something I'm going to show you after we do the interview of a young little kid was practicing his speech. We had a big gala on Saturday, and the little kid was just struggling with his cadence. And I actually coached him through the scenario. He did a phenomenal job, and they just want to be led from beginning, cradle to grave, and that's what we have to do as mentors.
All right, and we can't put them down because I tell you, they are so talented. The Gen Zs now, the Gen As, my grandsons, they fall in that category. In fact, 2 years old, he knew how to turn on a computer. He knows
2
how
years
to
old.
work. 2 years old, know how to work different things. He tells me different things, and I'm almost, I'm 60 plus. All right, then there's adulthood. You have money and energy, but you have no time. And then you get to old age, you have all the money and the time, but you have no energy. The moral of the story
That's right.
is we need to enjoy all 3 stages of life.
Yes.
And therefore, that's really great about leadership. And so what are some of the things you involve the youth in there in the Prince George's area? And by the way, I used to live there in Prince George's. It's one of the richest counties in Maryland.
Yes, in the country.
And I was stationed at Andrews Air Force Base. I wanted to go to California, but I'm so glad the Lord directed my path. And, all things worked out together for good because I ended up meeting several people and ended up being in a covenant relationship with them. And then last year when I was there with my daughter in Virginia, you came.
I sure did.
You visited, and we went out to eat and whatnot. And I just really covered our friendship. And I tell you, Houston has a place for you. So we want you to make this your second home. You bring a lot of energy. You bring a lot of pizzazz and your expertise, and we can just really be movers and shakers here.
And guess what we're doing with the kids? This is going to blow you away. Polo. Polo.
Wow.
You know what polo?
Yes.
Polo's it's a aristocratic kind of, we're going to start doing that with the kids in Prince George's County, Maryland. So we have golf. I coach their track program, which keeps them in shape. A lot of kids are not in shape anymore, Keith, because there's no gym class.
That's true.
So a lot of kids have high blood pressure and they're obese. So we got that helpful.
Depressed too. Don't forget about
the mental side. But the polo is a whole different piece. The tennis, the golf. So we try to expose these kids. They don't know what they don't know. So sometimes you got to get them out of their zone, their comfort zone, and that's what we try to do with the 100 Black Men in a positive way.
Okay, and therefore they just need direction.
Need direction and coaching.
Okay, and they also need encouragement.
And you know what? A lot of times when I speak, what we're trying to create, Keith, is hope. A lot of these kids
keep hope alive.
Yeah, but
that's
on a
what Jesse
serious
Jackson
note,
said.
but a lot of these kids don't believe they have hope. They're not going to live past 21.
Wow, because of the gangs,
they're dads in prison or moms on lockdown or on drugs, especially in D.C. area, New York City area, these big cities. So we have to create hope and say, Johnny, it's going to be okay, and give them reasons why they're going to live past 21. Give them success, because a little success goes a long way.
All right. How can we help youth develop their power voice? They have a voice.
Yeah.
And this is where you come in.
Yeah.
With the 100 Black Men. Now, do you all do like rites of passages with them? And all of this?
I personally teach a thing called an elevator speech. And what I mean by that, as a business, I coach business owners how to sell themselves and to present themselves. So we have a thing called an elevator speech that I work with the young people to create who they are. What do you want to be? What do you bring to the table? And it's a very fascinating thing. An example, viewers, would be, hi, I'm Walter Kirkland, the founding president of 100 Black Men. I've mentored over 300 youth on a monthly basis with 10,000 contact hours a month. I've closed $20 million in the last 20 years. I impact your bottom line. Do you want to hear more?
Wow.
That's an example of an elevator speech. And
Wow.
imagine taking that from a personalization perspective about who you are. The first 20 seconds, Keith, and you guys agree, you make an assessment, do I even want to deal with that person? Do I want to listen to that person? It's the cadence, intonation, messaging, in conviction. When you have that all tied together, oh my God, it's a rock star.
Wow. Now, do you do like podcasts? You can teach this?
I do a podcast on Kirkland's Corner. I do that much like in what you're doing today. I do that once a month, and I've interviewed Jesse Jackson, Doug Williams, Edwin Moses, Tommy Smith, who was the brother that ran track and field. So I have that same type of audience that I do on a regular basis called Kirkland's Corner.
Okay, Willie Jolly, Dr. Willie Jolly. I don't know if
I
you
know him very well. I'm on his Bible study.
The 1 minute message he gives, it only takes a minute.
Yep.
He said this, most leaders are not born. They are developed like a diamond under pressure over time. Boy.
Yep.
And you know, like a diamond is found in the earth.
Deep in the earth.
You got to dig deep. And so many times we got to dig deep in our youth and we got to draw out. I remember a teacher in high school, and back then when I went to high school, the teachers really cared. I'm not saying they don't care now, but they made you do your work. They were involved in the community. They lived in the community. And if you didn't do well, they came and told your parents and whatnot. I had a teacher that told me that you're going to be somebody. And when she said that, that helped me create my power of voice. So I don't have to walk around with my head hung down. And we have a lot of young people that have low self-esteem. So we want to commend you for what you're doing, Walter, you know, with them. And happiness is when your expectations are met or exceeded. Now, what type of reward system do you have for these young men? And you probably go in, and some of these men may have single mothers. And I'm sure that the single mothers welcome the men, the men role models and figures in their lives.
Oh, no doubt. And we give them, we just gave away 15 scholarships. Like this past weekend, 1,000 each, and some got 2,000. Every year we give away scholarships. We give away all kinds of positive reinforcements for academic success. So that's another giveaway that we get. And we get them exposed to programs at no charge. Apple, oh my God, they partnered with our track team, and they gave them Apple Watches and phones.
Wow. I never forget when I was living in San Antonio, there's a lot of truancy among the young people, especially the African American males and the Hispanic males. And so one of the judges, I met her at a soul food restaurant, and she said, I want you to come to my courtroom. And she dealt with the truancy, and it was single mothers, and because they went through a divorce. And I sat there and I listened, and this mother was crying and said, I told the dad to take them because I'm tired. I cannot do it. And women aren't built, when that young man, he may play football and he barely.
That's right.
But when we grow up, our mom may stood this high. We may be this tall, but she can cut us down and whatnot. And so I said to the judge, she called me back to her chamber, and I said, you send them on a mission trip to Haiti. Send them to Africa, and you will not have this problem.
Wow.
We took some inner city youth from Tulsa. Some of them, they had smoked weed and all of that, and people were telling us don't take them and whatnot. But let me show you what happened on that mission trip. When they got over there, they had an experience of a lifetime. They saw kids poorer than them that had to pay to go to school. They had to walk to school. We have buses. Our children drop out, but they stay. And yet still their parents struggle to pay their tuition. And then when they worked, we built a facility there for their children. Those children were transformed.
Goodness.
They came back, and it was a difference. And then our plane broke down before we left. And all of us flew over. It was about maybe 17 of us. And we had some adult chaperone. And then, therefore, We got put up in the hotel where President Bush and Clinton stayed.
Very nice.
3 meals a day. And then when we got to London, we had a big trip planned and we couldn't go. And they had to fly back. Some of them flew back first class.
Goodness.
And Noah, that was an experience. Some of them were D students. They ended up being AB.
Oh my God.
So there's hope. And keep hope alive. So I want to say to the kids, keep hope alive. Let's put up your contact information. Somebody want to contact you about the 100 black men. There it is. Your Facebook, Walter Kirkland, W Kirkland 1 at is that Instagram?
That's Instagram.
And then your phone number. And tell us about the podcast.
Yeah, the podcast is called Kirkland's Corner. You can find it on YouTube and also streaming on a lot of platforms. And we do that once a month, and it's a community program. I had quite a few entertainers and sports people and leaders on that, politicians. It's a phenomenal platform. You can go to CoachKirkland.com, CoachKirkland.com to find more information about the podcast. CoachKirkland.com.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Now, very briefly, for 30 seconds, tell us about what's coming up July 29th and how somebody can get involved with this fundraiser.
July 29th is the Vernon Dean second annual celebrity golf event at Quail Valley. So if you want more information, you can go to my website, CoachKirkland.com. You can also email me at wkirkland@live.com. July 29th here at Quail Valley and here in beautiful Missouri City, Texas.
All right, put up his contact information again so they can get that and they can see how to contact you. And your brand is proximity is power. Well, Walter, thank you for being a guest today.
This is beautiful.
And that's a little something to remember us by.
Well, you're a good man,
and
Charlie Brown.
You can put up our slide and then I'll close. Keep it real. And boy, I tell you, this is our 63rd episode. And I tell you, we just keep going higher and higher. There's that lovely lady there, Sister Joy. Keep it real, TV49. We want you to subscribe, watch, and share. Telephone number 346-697-9473. Call us. Give us your views. And keep it real, TV49@gmail.com. Tell us what you think about the program. We're going to have an exciting lineup in May. It's going to be Mothers in Miracle.
Beautiful.
Well, I want to close with a quote from Dr. Miles Monroe. He says, whatever you master make you valuable. So I want to thank you for what you're doing with our young people.
Awesome.
6 important guidelines in life. When you're alone, mind your thoughts. When you're with friends, mind your tongue. When you're angry, mind your temper. When you're with a group, mind your behavior. When you're in trouble, mind your emotions. When God blesses you, you mind your ego. And Miles Monroe said this, that legacy is about living beyond your grave. No one can steal you, so give yourself away. Success comes from seeing as a person trying, learning, and growing. You cannot achieve success without you. And so, therefore, we want to see you at the top, and we want you to know the art of leadership with you. So look at that camera, and on the count of 3, we're going to tell the youth to keep it real. 1, 2, 3, keep it real.